Well, hey there, guys. Greetings and salutations, and welcome to a very special Sunday night edition of something we haven't done in a while around here, which is just an Ask Me Anything with me, John. Good to have you guys here. Thanks for joining me. As it kind of is implied in the title, this is kind of an Ask Me Anything, which means if you want to write in, and normally what we do on the show here is, you can write in and ask about movies, TV show, entertainment, stuff like that. But on Ask Me Anything, I like to throw it open a little bit wider. So you can write in and ask me about movies and TV shows if you want. We can talk about that. But if you also want to ask me about tech, or if you want to ask me about cameras, you want to ask me about YouTubing, or you want to ask me about van life or whatever, you guys can go ahead and write in and let me know, and we will discuss about it. And the way we send in questions on either open mics or here on little Ask Me Anythings is go ahead and use the super chat feature, which means you have to be watching live. You got to be watching live in order to use the super chat feature. So if you're watching this video a bit later, thank you for watching the video later, but you won't be able to send in questions, unfortunately. Anyway, guys, good to be here. And this is my first kind of stream in almost 2 weeks from here in the studio. I think the last stream I did from here in studio was not this past Tuesday, but the Tuesday before that is the last one I did in studio. And then I hit the road for the trip and stuff. Before we get started, I want to talk about this for a minute, if you guys don't mind. By the way, my voice is still recovering a little bit. You can probably tell. But, so far, in about a month and a half, we've been doing the movie meetups, and we have now done, I believe it's 13 cities for the movie meetups. And it was, where have we gone? We've done Phoenix, San Diego, San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, Albuquerque, Denver, Salt Lake City, Las Vegas, Kansas City, Hamilton, Ontario, Chicago, and Indianapolis. In just the last month and a half, we've done that many cities. We've been traveling around, and it has been awesome. It's been amazing. You've heard me say in this show already before that I really expected, when I was going to do these, I was really excited to do them. I was really excited to do them. But when I decided to do them, it was my wholehearted, full expectation that I would go to some city and 2 or 3 or 4 of our viewers in that city would come, and there'd be 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of us there to hang out a little bit and talk about movies and whatnot. And instead, they've been selling out, and it has been incredibly moving to me, and humbling to me, and shocking to me. I am a straight up nobody that does little YouTube videos from his garage. And that's what the studio is. It's a converted garage. And I think it speaks to the power of the movie community. I think it speaks to the power of what movies mean to us collectively, and the power of us, bonding over movies and finding common ground over movies and being able to talk about movies and celebrate movies and all that kind of stuff. And it's been amazing. But, for me, and I know this is true for Anne as well, one of the most incredible parts about these trips has been meeting people, whether it's been like 75 people in one town, 150 people in another town, whatever, being able to meet people and meet everybody who have talked to me about the show being there for difficult parts of their life. Ann and I have been it's been amazing how many people have come up to us on the 13 cities we've visited so far, and just telling us, you know, I was in 2022, I went through 6 months of brutal this, or in 2024, I had a terrible year, or in 2019, I had this, or stuff like that. And then saying things like, your show is one of the things that got me through it, or being able every day to look forward to that this one steady thing that we knew would be fun and entertaining for us, has been pretty amazing. Um, I'm not going to say which city, but I know Ann and I nearly broke down. This one brother and sister. It's, by the way, it's amazing how many different cities, like siblings, have come up. Couple of brothers, brother and sisters, like all this. It's been kind of amazing. But in one city in particular, this brother and sister came up, and the sister spoke and said, "We just want you to know that you saved our brother's life." And I thought, well, that's an interesting thing to say. And then just said a story that the brother was in a really bad place for a while, as many of us are sometimes, was in a really bad place and apparently was really considering taking their own lives. And they just happened to be watching the show one day when we talked about Castaway. Because, I told that story about Castaway because, after a friend of mine took their own life, it was before I saw Castaway, and then I saw Castaway, and I'm like, I wish that friend of ours was still here by the time we saw Castaway, because there's that incredible line in Castaway about how somebody asked Tom Hanks, "How did you hold out?" And he said, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. And he said, he just kept breathing and whatever, because you never knew what the tide was going to bring in the next day, because life changes overnight, and sometimes for the bad and sometimes for the good, and you just need to hold on. And I told the story on the show about how I wish my friend was still alive to hear that story from that movie. Anyway, this brother and sister tell us the story about how the brother saw that and decided to go to the family and say, "I need help." And it's like, Ann and I, it's like, I'm a fucking spaz who talks about bring on the filthy and whatever. It's like, really? And it's just been, it's just been amazing to me, because movies are, you guys have heard me say this a lot, the thing that I love most about movies, and the reason why I think movies are not just great entertainment, movies are important. Movies matter. Because, when we're in a terrible place in our life, or we're having a crappy week or a crappy month or a crappy year, or something horrible's going on, I've said this before, I can sit down and watch a great movie, and it allows my mind to have an oasis. It allows my mind to have a reprieve. It just allows me to engage my imagination and refresh my mind. Let some artist's creativity inspire me and move me. And it's not that the crap that we're dealing with isn't still there when the movie's done. The crap is still there. The difference is, I feel like we as people are in just a little bit better of a place to deal with the crap that's there. It doesn't solve our problems. It just allows us to come out a little bit more refreshed, maybe with a bit of a different perspective. And I've always found that movies do that, and you guys have heard me say that the movie community does that as well. Like, in the same way that movies do that, I find that conversations about movies can do that. When we get involved in great conversations about movies, whether it's in person with our friends or online or whatever, I find it kind of functions the same way. It offers us that reprieve. It offers us that, a little bit of an oasis, so that when we come out of those fun conversations, the crap is still there. The problems are not solved. It's just that hopefully we're in a little bit better of a place to deal with them. That's all. And I've always been aware of that, but doing this little tour and visiting these 13 cities in the last couple of weeks, and meeting well, now we're in the thousands, I guess, thousands of fellow film fans telling their stories about how movies and the movie community, you and I, how the movie community has been there for them, has been, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say the word revelatory. It's been revelatory to me. It's been an amazing experience for me. And yes, the movie meetup tour continues. We will be next month. We'll be announcing a bunch more cities in the coming weeks that we're going to be doing in November. They will definitely include Texas. They will definitely include Florida, maybe one or two other states as well. And then after that, the movie meetup tours will probably go on pause until after the winter. So maybe once we get into March and stuff like that, then we'll pick it up again and do some more. But it's been pretty incredible. And I just wanted, I hope you guys don't mind, I just wanted to take a minute and like share what this has been for me and what it has meant to me. And thank you to all the thousands of people who have come out to these meetups. It's truly been inspiring, and it's truly been just an incredible experience for me. So thank you to everybody. And thank you to all the rest of you guys for making this community. It's not just about me and Jonathan and Rob. Like, it's about you guys who watch this show, participate in the live chats, who engage in fun, positive conversations about movies. You are there for those other people every bit as much as I am. And thank you for making that community a reality. And thank you for allowing me to be a part of it as well. So thank you to everybody for that. And now let's get over to things, shall we? And do what we have meant to do. Oh, and by the way, a bunch of people have been asking me, and yes, will I be doing movie meetups where I live in the Los Angeles, Southern California area? Yes. Again, in the next week or two, I'll be announcing some movie meetups that will probably be at the AMC Burbank 16 in Burbank, California, which was where I did AMC Movie Talk for a number of years. And we'll be definitely doing one at my home movie theater at the AMC Tyler Galleria in Riverside, California. So we'll be doing those and a couple of others. So lots more to come. And everything. By the way, this is so stupid. Somebody saying, dude was in Canada and didn't do a screening in Toronto. Dude, I did a screening in Hamilton. It was 45 minutes away. If I could drive 32 hours to get there, y'all could have gotten off your lazy ass if you wanted to. If you wanted to be at one, you could have gotten off your lazy ass and made the 45-minute trip to Hamilton. We've had people, by the way, who have come to these movie meetups that literally drove from like 3 and 4 hours away. That's been like amazing to me. Like absolutely amazing to me. Like these people who like literally drive, like, yeah, we did a movie meetup in Kansas and it was like, well, this was the closest one to us. And they made like a 3-hour drive to come out. It's been absolutely amazing. Had a really, really great time. So thank you again to everybody. And let's get things rolling here, shall we? We're going to start off here with Drew Gresh, who Drew was at one of our movie meetups. I believe he's at the one in Chicago. Yes, there it is. That's Chicago. So Drew writes, it was an absolute pleasure meeting you in Chicago. It was a pleasure meeting you too. I got a Wrexham hat from him, actually. I got to meet some film fans, and we're planning on seeing Predator together on opening night. That is awesome. By the way, just let me say, one of the coolest things about the movie meetups, because, you know, when like 110 people would be there, or 140 people, or 80 people, it would take me a while to get around to meeting everybody. So, but all these film fans would start meeting each other and start hanging out together and talking together. And now Drew is saying that him and some of the other film fans are planning to go to a movie together. Anyway, we're planning on seeing Predator together on opening night. I can't wait for that, by the way. Hope you are digging the Wrexham hat. And please let me know if Ryan Reynolds responded to that video. Thanks and bring on the filthy. So what Drew is talking about, Drew came up to me, was one of the people came up to me in Chicago. And by the way, not only gave me a really great Wrexham hat, but also gave me a Superman newspaper box, a popcorn bucket that I never got a chance to get myself. So he got one for me, which is, thank you very much for that. That was great. So Drew comes up to me and tells me, I discovered the show Welcome to Wrexham through your show. Like, I never heard of it until the John Campea show. And I got my dad into it, and my grandfather and my uncle all into it, which was great. And he said, and after we all got really into it, we just went to London. We went to London, and we went to a Wrexham game, and all that kind of stuff, and it was all because of the John Campea show. So I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Would you mind saying all that again on camera? So I get my phone out and I record. It's like, all right, Drew, just say exactly what you just said. Drew goes, I discovered the John Campea show. I discovered Welcome to Wrexham through the John Campea show, and I got my dad, my grandfather, my uncle, and we all went to the UK, and we went to a Wrexham game, and blah, blah, blah. And I put the camera back on myself, and I'm like, because of me. And he's like, because of you. So I took that, and I may have sent that video to one of the owners of Wrexham. And while I will not say what was responded, I will tell you, Drew, that yes, Reynolds saw the video, and yes, he did respond to it. I'm not going to say what the response was, but I'm just going to say, yes, he saw you talking about you and your dad, stuff like that. So that was a very, very cool thing. It was a lot of fun. All right, thanks a lot for that, Drew, and thanks for coming out to that. All right, next up, we got Murray Reich, who writes, the new intro to Peacemaker is so addicting. It's been stuck in my head after the show ended. I even see it integrated with popular movie scenes online. So random. Yeah, listen, I gotta say, I like the song used in the second season of Peacemaker. I did. I thought it was really good. I just don't think it holds a candle to the song from season 1. The song from season 1, it was just on another level. I just thought it was great. Now, again, I thought Peacemaker season 2 was fabulous. It just was. It was incredible. I just wish the final episode was better. You know, I thought they dropped the ball in the final episode, but whatever. One episode, and it wasn't good. I mean, I didn't think episode 8 was very good at all. But whatever. 7 out of the 8 episodes were absolutely fantastic. So it was a great show overall. But I like the song. I do. I like the song. I just don't think it's anywhere near as good as the song from the first season. All right. Thanks for that, Murray. All right. Al writes, which will make more money, Zootopia 2 or Wicked 2? Oh, that's easy. Zootopia 2. Yeah. I mean, you never know. I could be wrong, but yeah, the first Zootopia made over $1 billion. The first Wicked did not. Zootopia 2 is going to have parents who loved it, and now they have kids, because it's been a few years since the first one came out. So yeah, I think they're both going to make a lot of money. They're both going to make a lot of money, but Zootopia 2 will definitely make more money. That's my guess at any rate. All right, thanks for that, Al. Next up, Mighty Tank 1 says, who wins tomorrow's Lions or the Bucks? I would say the Bucks, but the problem is not 1, not 2, but their 3 top receivers are all out. They've been doing really great with the injuries and everything with Baker Mayfield at quarterback, but I'm sorry, you're playing the Lions and you're missing your 3 best receivers. Yeah, I would like to say the Bucks, but it's going to be Detroit. Okay. Next up, Raymond Verrata writes, who was at one of our movie meetups. Raymond writes, Raymond here, saw your picture with Ann in Texas. Hope you have more sightseeing pics, safe travels. So what he's referring to, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this on screen or not. I'll try. On our drive back from the movie meetups, we were going through Texas, North Texas, and we're in Amarillo, Texas. And Ann said, you know, if we're going to be going through Texas, we should probably look to see if there's a good barbecue place. And we found this place called Tyler's Barbecue, and it had like 5,000 ratings, and it was the highest rated thing, and said one of the best, you know, all the reviews are like one of the best barbecue places in Texas. So we thought, well, we better stop then. We better stop and check it out. And sure enough, we did. And sure enough, the barbecue was awesome. It was incredible. So, yeah, we had a good time stopping in Texas there for a minute. Okay. Let's see. Next up, we've got Connor Dorian, who writes, have you been keeping up with Gen V Season 2? I've been asked this a bunch of times. I watched the first 3 episodes when they dropped the first 3, and I thought it was very solid. Very solid. But I haven't gotten around to watching it since. I will. I absolutely plan on, but I guess I'm about 3 or 4 episodes behind now. So I've started this season. I'm 3 episodes in. I quite like it. I just haven't kept up yet, so I will get caught up. But I like the start. I like the start that they're off to. All right. Next up, Jai CSC writes, hey John, with all the traveling you've been doing, just wondering if you're still making time for your music, learning to play anything new lately. You know what's funny? I have not been able to keep up with my music lately. And then about a month ago, I finally started pulling out my guitar again every day. And then I put that back down again because I've been doing the traveling. But I do plan this year to do a little bit more with my music. I'm not going to say what I'm going to do with it, but I do plan this year to do a little bit more with my music. Thank you for asking, Jai. I appreciate that, man. All right, next up. We have Screen Speak, who writes, I know you said your Ohio movie meetup might happen in January. Oh, I guarantee you will not happen in January. I'm not driving to the Northeast in the winter. That's not happening. But it will happen in general, just not in January. Anyway, at least after the new year, any thoughts on what movie you might see at that time? No. See, when we're planning the movie meetups, first we figure the cities we want to do, and then we figure the dates. And once we have the cities and the dates set, well, then we just look to see what movies are playing. Like, we don't plan the movie meetups around what movie is going to be out. That wouldn't be practical. Besides, it's not really even about the movie. It's about just fans getting together, right? Anyway, so we first pick the cities we want to go to, and then we kind of script out, then we try to plan out travel times and set the dates. Then once the dates are done, and we pick the movie theater, so that's number 1, pick the city, number 2, pick the dates, third thing we do is pick the specific theater. Then once all that is done, then we see what's playing at the theater on those dates, and we pick one. So the movie is actually the last thing we pick. The movie's the last thing we pick when we do the meetups. Thanks for the question, ScreenSpeak. Next up, Orange Hand writes, have you ever heard someone describe a movie as being too cinematic? I never have, to be honest. In the same way, people might describe a book as being too overwritten or flowery. Well, those are 2 very different things. Like, you can get a movie that's too overwritten, or the script just went to whatever. But I must say, in the 20 years I've been doing this, I'm not saying nobody has ever said it. You've asked me if I've ever heard anybody say it. And I can tell you that no. I honestly have never heard anybody say, have you ever heard somebody say that a movie is too cinematic? I'm not saying that's not a real thing. I'm just saying the answer to your question is I've never heard anybody say that. All right. Brandon Entwistle writes, love the show. Where are Ray and Chris? Guys, I answered this question like 1,000 fucking times. Okay. Ray is still working with the channel. He just doesn't want to be on camera anymore. So he still works with show, but he's just not going to be on camera. And Chris, it was too much of a pain in the ass for Chris. Chris was literally having to drive 2, sometimes 3 hours a day to drive out here to the studio and drive home again. And it just really wasn't worth it for her. We'll still figure out a way as we get better technology and better systems of trying to do remote stuff. Because you guys have watched me trying to do the show remote on the road. It works, but it can be really finicky and it can screw up. But once we get all that figured out, we'll figure out a way to get Chris on again, at least semi-regularly, remotely. But it just became too much of a pain in the ass for her to make that drive all the time. Anyway, all right, next up. Where are we at? Suthius writes, Hey, Mr. C, thoroughly enjoyed Last of Us Season 1 and Andor Season 1, but for some reason I hardly have any desire to see the second season of either one. Strange, I know. I mean, that is strange, but it's not unheard of. I mean, it took me a long time. Like, I watched the first couple of seasons of Better Call Saul. And it's not that I didn't have any desire. I just fell off of it, even though I really liked the show. And it took me a couple of years to finally get around to finishing off the show. So it is weird, yeah. But it happens, man. It's not the most unheard of thing for us. All right. Thanks for that, man. But do go back and watch both of them, because both of them were great, especially Andor Season 2. Suthius also writes, going into the next Avengers movies, we potentially have some really heavy hitters squaring up against Doom, White Vision, Sentry, Thor, Wonder Man, etc. Yeah, I mean, part of the problem with making long, ongoing cinematic universes is not just that it gets overcrowded, and it does get overcrowded, but it's also the law of diminishing returns. It's you can have people you keep making your characters more and more powerful, because if you want this character to make an impact with the audience, you got to show that they're even more powerful, and then the next guy has to be even more powerful, and then this other character suddenly gets more power, now they're more powerful, and then suddenly you're at this place where everybody's a god. Everybody's a god, and then there's Hawkeye, right? I mean, so they have to be very careful of that. And it's going to be interesting with all these big, major, heavy hitter, very, very, very powerful characters, how they're going to manage that once they get to Doctor Doom. Because you can't just do now, Doctor Doom is even more powerful than all of them. So they got to come up with a good story hook to make it why he's a problem for the rest of them. But it's going to be challenging. All right, thanks for that, Suthius. Next up, Mighty Tank 1 writes, which film are you more excited for, Predator Badlands or Running Man? That's easy, Running Man. Listen, I'm very, very excited for Predator Badlands, right? I mean, Predator and Alien, they've won me over. I had written both of those franchises off for good reason, but I had written both of those franchises off, and they have both won me back over. I loved Prey. I loved Predator Killer of Killers. I loved Alien Romulus. I loved Alien Earth. So these franchises have won me back over. And the trailers for Predator Badlands have been amazing. Absolutely. But Running Man looks special. They showed us a big preview for it at CinemaCon. They did a big presentation of it. And Rob and I were both like, holy crap, this looks awesome. Doesn't mean it will be awesome. It could be terrible. We'll find out. But it looks really, really good. So I'm excited for both of them, but I'm most excited out of those two for Running Man. All right, thanks, Mighty Tank. Next up, Mike Vetter writes, Mickey 17, Novocaine, Drop, Weapons. By the way, I really liked all those movies. The Long Walk, that one too. Roofman. These are all the great movies I saw this year that I would never have heard of if it wasn't for your show. So thank you, John. You know what, Mike? That is absolutely one of my favorite things, is when, like Drew earlier with Welcome to Wrexham, when two things in particular I really love. When I discover something because one of our viewers tells me about it, or when a viewer of ours writes in and tells me they watched this movie or they watched this show because they heard about it on the John Campea show and they heard us talking about it. So then they went and watched it and they loved it. That is one of my absolute, pardon me, favorite things. So thank you so much for saying that, and I'm glad you enjoyed those movies, man. I enjoyed I didn't love Mickey 17, I got to admit, and because of my traveling, I haven't had a chance to see Roofman yet, and that looks great, and everybody says it's wonderful, but I loved all those other movies. Novocaine was great, Drop was great, Weapons was great, The Long Walk was great. Yeah. Anyway, all right, thanks, Mike. Next up, Miguel writes, do you watch Netflix's Black Rabbit? No, but I fully intend to. I'm on episode 6, and it's been great. It's a great slow burn. The writing unravels. Probably one of the best dramas right now. Listen, I'm a big fan of Jason Bateman. I'm a big fan of Jude Law. The trailers look really good. It's absolutely a show that is right up my alley. But I haven't had a chance to start watching it yet, but I will. That is one that is absolutely on my radar, Miguel. All right, next up. Eddie Burton writes, any chance you'll make your way to Jersey for a movie meetup, sir? Been a fan since the AMC days and would love to get to meet you. Yes. Either New York or New Jersey. I know they're relatively close to each other, or maybe both. I was actually trying to get a movie meetup set up at Kevin Smith's movie theater, but it just didn't work out. I mean, I tried. I really wanted to do it, but we just haven't been able to make that work. But when we go back up to the Northeast, again, we won't go back to the Northeast until in the new year, maybe March, April, once the winter ends. But yes, we will be doing New York. We will be doing New Jersey. We'll absolutely go to those places. All right. Next up, we've got Suthius writes, I may be in the minority, but the Terrifier movies are overrated. Not scary and not all that great. Sure, they'll have fun with gore, but that's about it. But see, that's the thing, Suthius. It's the Terrifier movies are clearly not made for everybody. They're not even made for most people. But there's a lot of, everybody likes different things, and there's a lot of people that just love really just good, fun, schlocky, gory movies. Nothing wrong with that. That's great. I'm not that particular audience. And so I don't really find the Terrifier movies all that great, to be honest with you. But who cares? There are a lot of people that do, and it appeals to them. So, you know what? It's not supposed to appeal to everybody, and that's perfectly fine. The important thing is the Terrifier series is a series that knows who its audience is and really targets their movie to really satisfy that audience. And they do a good job of that. So, yeah, it's not for me, and it's clearly not for you, and that's perfectly fine. But it works really well for the audience that it is made for, and that's what's important. All right. Next up. Zachary writes, will you be doing a movie meetup in Los Angeles to wrap up your tour? Not to wrap it up, but I will, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I will be doing movie meetups. 2 of them in the LA area. I will be doing the AMC Burbank 16. We don't have a date for it yet, but I will be doing one at the AMC Burbank 16. And then I will be doing one at my home theater, which is the AMC Tyler Galleria in Riverside, California. Don't have dates for those yet, but there will be movie meetups at both of those. Keep your ears open for when we announce dates. Thanks for that, Zachary. Next up, Dalton writes, hey, John, hope your night is going well. The Blue Jays won tonight, so it's going pretty well. My question is, which moments come to mind from early in your career when you were genuinely proud of yourself for what you had accomplished? That's a different kind of question, because normally, that could be a different answer from, what moments in my career have been my favorite versus moment in my career where I was really proud of what I accomplished. Well, okay, so let me throw out a couple of little ones here. One of my favorite things very, very early in my career, it was before I ever went to AMC. I was doing the movie blog, and I found out that Time Magazine got a hold of me, and they wanted to do a story on me. It was called, the title of the story was Boys Who Love Toys, There's an Unlikely New Superpower in the World of Film. That was the name of the article. Boys Who Love Toys, There's an Unlikely New Superpower in the World of Film. And the basic gist of the article was that this new, at the time we were new, this new segment of these guys online who are not your traditional movie critics, but these movie pundits online, and that they were becoming influential. And they did this, they brought me in, they did this big photo shoot with me. They put me in these Jedi robes, holding up a film reel and stuff like that. Anyway, that was a really cool moment for me. because that was something my mom and dad would understand. Time magazine, like, look, mom and dad, I'm in Time magazine. So that was a pretty cool thing. And that was kind of, I think that's the thing that made AMC notice me. And the guy who then recruited me to AMC reached out to me. So anyway, the Time magazine article one was one that I was really pretty proud of. I think the second time that I remember feeling, I mean, again, there were great moments that I had Kevin Feige and James Gunn in studio at the same time. I was literally sitting with the heads of Marvel and the future head of DC. There was a time I would MC Hall H panels at Comic-Con. The one time I was the MC for the Avengers Age of Ultron press day. I mean, there's been a lot of stuff like that. But the Time magazine one was one I was pretty proud of. But the next thing, this may kind of come out of nowhere, but as I think about it, I still remember we had been doing AMC for a while and succeeding and growing. And I convinced AMC to let us move out of the storage closet at the AMC Burbank 16 and rent us some actual big, true studio space in Burbank. And I still remember we got that space, we got it all opened up when we started production there. And so they let me grow my staff. I started off with like me, Dennis, Roth, Amy Rose came along shortly thereafter that, stuff like that. But by the time we moved into the big new studio, I think our team was like 15 people. I then had a staff of like 15 people. And I remember we had this big boardroom, and the first time I set up our morning production meetings, which we used to do with Movie Talk. Everybody hated it, but I know it made the show go better. We would get everybody in, and we'd all sit around, we'd get all the staff in, we'd sit around this big table, and we'd go through the run of the show, and we'd do all that. And I remember the first time we did that, I remember sitting back, I was at the head of the table, and I sat back, and I kind of looked around this table of incredibly gifted, talented people. And I built that. And I just remember feeling really proud at that moment of what we had built. Because you got to remember, when AMC first brought me on, they just brought me on, they wanted me to do a blog. Not kidding. It was a written blog. It was called Script to Screen was the name of the blog. And it took me like a year to convince them, guys, you have to let us do video. Video is the future of this. You got to let us do video. And then they let us try video. It clearly worked. And then sitting at that big table and looking around the table at these incredibly gifted, incredibly talented people that I had brought together, that was a really big, proud moment for me. So, yeah, anyway, I hadn't thought about that, but thank you for asking, man. That was a really cool question. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. All right. Thanks, Dalton. Next up, we got Zachary again, who writes, by the way, I just got back from an overseas deployment with the Marines. That's awesome, man. It was great watching you and the gang while away. You know what, Zachary? I have always been amazed how many people, whether it's in the American military service or others, that have reached out and said, while deployed, I would still get to watch the show. And this notion that we get to entertain people, hopefully inform and entertain people who are serving their countries, I think that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with me, man. That really means a lot. Thank you so much. All right, next up. Silver Blue Mando writes, did you end up watching Tron Ares 3 times? I did. If you did the movie grow on you, or did its flaws outdo the good? Well, no, here's the thing. If you guys saw my out of theater review, I said Tron Ares is okay. It's okay. I'm glad I watched it. I didn't despise it. I listen, it has its very much weak points, and it has some strong points. And to me, the strong points slightly outweighed the good. The strong points slightly outdid the weak points, and I thought the movie was okay. Now, when I watched it again, because I had to see it in another city at another movie meetup, um, I said I enjoyed it more the second time, but I don't think the movie was any better. But I enjoyed it more the second time because when I watch a movie that I think is okay, and then I watch it a second time, well, I already know the things I don't like about the movie, right? So as I'm watching it again, my mind knows how to just kind of tune out or ignore the parts that I didn't really like and just focus more on the parts that I do like. The movie didn't get any better, but I was able to enjoy it a little bit more. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I wouldn't say the movie got better. It was still just an okay movie, but I was able to enjoy it a bit more the second and third time because my mind knew how to just tune out the parts I didn't like anyway. So anyway, that was my experience with it. All right. Next, Miguel writes, maybe I missed your review, but your thoughts on One Battle After Another. I thought Sean Penn was great. Do you think Tanya Taylor deserves an Oscar nom? Thanks. Yeah, I never reviewed it because of my traveling and all that kind of stuff. I wasn't able to review it on opening weekend. I know some of you don't like this rule of mine, but it is what it is. If I can't do a full review of a movie in its first 2 days of being out, I just don't do a review of it. John, I don't care anybody else. I think that's a good rule for me. I think it's a rule that makes sense. There's no point in me saying, like, if after it's already been in theaters for a few days, if I haven't done a review of it, there's no point in me doing a review for it. So anyway, I wasn't able to see it on its opening week. Actually, I wasn't even able to see it in its opening week. So I never did do a full review for it. But I will tell you, I finally got caught up with it. I talked about this on the show last week. I did see it. I thought it was great. I don't know that I'd call it the best movie of the year, but it's definitely in the running for that. I think absolutely Sean Penn should get an Academy Award nomination. I mean, everybody understands talking about Taylor. Everybody understandably is talking about Leonardo. I get that, but I think Sean Penn definitely deserves an Academy Award nomination for this. I'm not ready to say that anybody else in the movie fully deserves an Academy Award nomination yet because there's still too many amazing things. We got Begonia coming out. We got Marty Supreme coming out. Like, we got a ton of great other films. But the one that really stood out to me was Sean Penn. So that's the one that I'm keeping my eye open for. All right. Oh, by the way, what just happened? I think Emma, X-Men fan, just gifted a whole bunch of memberships. Thank you so much for that, X-Men superfan Emma Frost. Always coming through and donating memberships to the people watching the show. Thank you so much for that. All right. Next up, we've got Mikey writes, hey, John, next to Savannah, Georgia on the SC Georgia border, or I guess South Carolina, Georgia border is Pooler, home to a brand new theater that claims to have the world's tallest IMAX with reclining seats and in-seat theater dining. Hope you'll visit. Well, we are definitely going to hit the Atlanta area at some point during the movie meetups. That's going to happen. Now, the way we pick the theaters, for the specific theaters for movie meetups is, once I've decided I want to say go to a city, let's say Atlanta. Or, I'll use the one I just did, Chicago, as an example. So once we decide on a city we want to go to, Chicago, I then jump on the YouTube channel and go into the posts community section, and I'll put up a text post saying, hey guys, we're going to come to Chicago and do a movie meetup in Chicago. I need you to recommend a movie theater to me in the area that meets 3 criteria. 1, it's a big theater. 2, it's got an area in front of it somewhere that would be good for facilitating having a large group of people just hanging out afterwards. And 3, and this is most important, it can't be right in the middle of the city and it can't have a parking garage. It needs to have a big, open, surface level outdoor parking area because my van will not fit in a parking garage. It's over 10 feet tall. Anyway, once I put that out, then what happens is everybody starts recommending movie theaters on the post. So then what I do is I go through all the recommendations and I add them up, and whichever theater got the most recommendations, I then go online, double check to make sure it's a big theater, it's got a big front area, and it's got open surface parking. Then we pick that theater. In this case, in the case of Chicago, it was the AMC South Barrington. So that's why we ended up being in South Barrington, just outside of Chicago. So once we are ready to set the dates for Atlanta, I'll get on the channel and I'll ask our subscribers, hey guys, I'm going to come to Atlanta. Give me a movie theater in the Atlanta area. It's okay if it's a little bit outside of Atlanta. Give me a movie theater that meets these 3 criteria, and then whichever one gets the most votes, that's the one we go to. So that's how we'll figure out which one we'll go to in Georgia. Thanks for that, Mike. All right, next one up. We've got Sam Ash, who sends in a $50 super chat. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate that very much, man. Holy crap, that's incredibly generous of you, dude. Anyway, let's get to your question, shall we? Sam writes, hey, John, I know the answer to my question is obvious, or the question itself is very simple, but I thought it'd be fun to hear your opinion on it. Who do you think will probably win an Oscar first, Timothée Chalamet or Tom Holland? Well, I'm going to say Timothée Chalamet, and there's 2 reasons for that. Number one, Timothée Chalamet is just picking better projects than Tom Holland is. I think Tom Holland is a wonderful actor. I'm a big fan of Tom Holland. I love Tom Holland. But he's outside of Spider-Man, he's done a lot of crappy movies. And it's not his fault. He's a great performer, but he's picked some really crappy movies to be in. It's difficult to win an Academy Award if you're appearing in crappy movies. Timothée Chalamet, on the other hand, he's doing Dune. He's doing A Complete Unknown. He's doing Marty Supreme. Like, he's been much better. Him and his team have been much better at picking which projects to be in. And so, yeah, that's one reason. The second reason, Timothée Chalamet is just a better actor. And that is no shade or disrespect to Tom Holland. I think Tom Holland's wonderful. I'm a fan. But Timothée Chalamet is the only actor alive today that has the potential to be the next Daniel Day-Lewis. There's no other actor alive today, I think, who even has the potential to be the next Daniel Day-Lewis. Timothée Chalamet does. He's still ridiculously young. He gets better and better and better every time out. He could be the next Daniel Day-Lewis. It's not that he will be, but there's nobody else on the planet right now that I would even say could be. Some people are saying Austin Butler. Austin Butler's really good, but he's not Timothée Chalamet. He's ridiculously good. Austin Butler could definitely win an Academy Award or 2, but he's not Timothée Chalamet. So yeah, the answer to that question is Timothée Chalamet. By the way, guys, I just noticed that there is a stupid amount of super chats that have come in. So I'm going to turn off the super chats in about, well, I'll give you some heads up. I'm gonna turn off the super chats in about 2 minutes because there's already way too many of them. So if you still want to get in a super chat, go ahead and fire it on in, because in the next minute or 2, I'm going to turn it off because we've just got way too many of them. All right, let's get back to it here, shall we? And Sam, again, thank you so much for super chatting in that much, man. That's incredibly generous of you, and thank you for supporting us on that level. All right, next up, Mikey writes, all right, John, what colors are your strongest Magic decks, and what are their themes? Do you ever play on Magic the Gathering Arena? Mine is red-black damage right now. My best deck ever was a white deck. And I remember, this is the one thing I've got on Jeremy. Jeremy is also is a very good and a very, at least he was a very avid Magic player for a while. And I remember he and I would play Magic, and I went undefeated against Jeremy when using my white deck. When using my white deck. And it's not like we played 100 times. We played like 4 different times. And I was undefeated with it. Now, the reality is, Ann and I haven't played Magic in years. Because they started adding a bunch of things to it, and it just kind of wrecked the simplicity of the game. I'm no, sorry. It didn't wreck it, but I don't know, it fundamentally changed the game, and so Ann and I just kind of fell off it, so we haven't actually played in years. But easily and by far, my best deck was a white deck. All white. It was just all white. It was very, very, I had some pretty killer angels in there. It was pretty great. It was a good one. All right. Next up. Oh, sorry, I got to reload it now. And by the way, yes, I am now turning off super chats. There we go. Turning them off because we just have way too many. And by the way, X-Men superfan Emma Frost sent in another round of channel memberships. Thank you, Emma. That's incredibly great of you. All right. Let's keep things going here, shall we? And we will... Oops. All right. Did I reset it? I did. Okay. Sorry, guys. I just lost my place for a moment. I just got to get reset here. Suthius, Mighty Tank. Miguel, Mike, Sam, Ash. There we are. Okay. Next up, we go to... We just did Mikey Mike. Now, Scott writes... am I having the Mandela effect, or was Project Hail Mary supposed to come out sooner? I don't think so. I mean, you could be right. I don't remember them ever announcing a release date prior to 2026. That doesn't mean I'm right. I'm terrible with movie dates. I could be wrong about that, but I don't recall ever hearing it was going to come out prior to 2026. So I don't even think it's a Mandela effect. I don't think other people thought it was. Again, maybe I could be wrong, but I think 2026 was the first date I ever heard from it. But, I could be wrong about that. All right. Next up, we've got Sienna, the Destroyer writes, tell us why Chicago was your favorite stop. I'm not going to say Chicago was my favorite stop, but it was pretty overwhelming. I mean... I think it might have been our biggest stop. Like, I think we had over 150 people. It was easily the biggest theater. Like, it was the biggest theater, and the theater sold out. And it was wild. It was such a great night. We had such a good time in Chicago. It was so cool. And again, big thank you to everybody. Well, at all the movie meetups, but... Big thank you to everybody who came out to Chicago on that one. All right. Next up. Samuel Force writes, Anne Hathaway apparently said Heath Ledger was one of the greatest actors ever. Agree? No, I don't agree. I think Heath Ledger was a very hit and miss actor. I saw him in a number of projects I quite frankly didn't think he was very good at. And not just that the projects weren't good. There were times I would watch Heath Ledger and think he was an all right actor. But when he was completely on his game, Brokeback Mountain, obviously The Dark Knight, when he was completely on his game and firing on all cylinders, he was truly great. Academy Award-winning great. But again, he wasn't consistent. He wasn't consistent. So I think he, on his good days, he was a great actor. But he was a little bit too inconsistent for me to say he was like one of the all-time greats. I don't agree with that. But that's just me. All right. Next up. ZOMG Ruler writes, John, favorite use of Beach Boys song in a movie? I don't know. I I don't remember though. I don't walk around with those details. It's a good question. It's just I don't walk around with those details in my head. I would have to sit down and create a list and say, okay, so what movies were Beach Boys in? Were Beach Boys songs in? I don't have that off the top of my head, unfortunately. All right. Quinn the Critic writes, it was such an amazing honor to meet you in Phoenix. Liked Arizona? Oh, I loved Arizona. Not just did I think Phoenix was great, but driving through Arizona, some of the most beautiful landscape in the world. It was absolutely breathtaking and beautiful and gorgeous, and I just couldn't believe how beautiful it was. So yes, I had a great time in Arizona. Can't wait to go back. All right, next up. Dylan Payton writes, hey there, John. I sat next to you during the Chicago movie meetup. Awesome. And meeting you was such a surreal experience. Thank you for being so down to earth. Well, thank you for going, Dylan. I appreciate that. Thank you for writing in. Yeah, you know what's funny? It's always been funny. When I do walk into the theater and I go to my seat, whoever I end up sitting beside is completely shocked that I'm sitting beside them. That's been pretty fun. I gotta say, that's been pretty fun. And being able to then chat for a quick second and before the movie starts, that's always been great. So I'm glad you were there, Dylan. All right, next up. Michael Thompson Reviews writes, will you come to North Carolina? Yeah, I can't imagine that we wouldn't go to North Carolina. Again, probably not until the new year. Which, by the way, it's already middle of October. The new year is not very far away, but we will definitely do North Carolina. I can't imagine not doing North Carolina, so we'll probably be there. All right, my friend Kevin Rubio writes in, want to come up the Central Coast in April for a film festival? I haven't done a lot of film festivals in recent years. I used to love going to film festivals. I used to go to them all the time. But somewhere in the AMC days, I kind of fell off going to film festivals, which kind of sucks. But anyway, Kev, maybe. Let's talk about it later. All right, next up. Carter Hopkins writes, favorite film prop of all time. Mine has to be Han Solo's trusty sidearms, the DL-44, which I just finished up firing, and real parts version of it. Very cool. Man, when I think of the most iconic film props of all time, it's not the one you might think I would say. The very first time I had the privilege of visiting Skywalker Ranch, a buddy of mine became like an exec there and invited me out to visit. So I got to go and visit Skywalker Ranch. It was surreal. But I remember walking into this one cottage. And all the buildings are like designed like big giant cottages. Anyway, I walked into this one cottage. And in the foyer is all these glass display cases. And over here is something from Star Wars, and over here is something from this, and over here is something from that. And there was, I can't remember which lightsaber it was, but the actual screen used one of the lightsabers and all that kind of stuff. And I know most people would automatically think that my favorite thing would be a lightsaber. And that's for good reason, because Star Wars are my favorite movies of all time, obviously. But in the middle of the room, in this glass case, was Harrison Ford's whip. And I don't know what it was. It was the one, I believe, from the original Raiders of the Lost Ark. There's just, it was like a religious experience. It's like, that's it. That's the whip. Throw me the idol, I throw you the whip. Throw me the idol, I throw you the whip. And it was like, holy crap, like that. So I think I would say, off the top of my head, I think I would say Indy's whip is my favorite movie prop. Not my favorite movie of all time. That's Star Wars, but I think maybe the whip is my favorite movie prop. All right, next up. Parshi writes, hope you were able to safely return to the U.S. Oh, listen, guys. All I can say is crossing the border on ground is a way different experience than crossing the border at the airport. Because I lost count of the numbers of times it's been. Every time I go to Canada and try to come back, I always get detained. I can't remember the last time that I didn't get detained. Sometimes it's for 10 minutes, sometimes it's for an hour, sometimes it was for a few hours. But I never get any explanation. I absolutely have zero criminal record. I don't even have a parking ticket. You think I'm exaggerating? I'm not. I don't even have any parking tickets. But I always get detained. But it's always at the airport. This trip, I was driving. And sure enough, we got into Detroit because we were crossing at the Windsor-Detroit Ambassador Bridge. And our turn pulled up, and I'm like, okay, here we go. Easy breezy. Apparently crossing the border on land, hell of a lot easier than trying to do it at the airport. Because I guarantee you, if I was crossing at the airport, if I was going through customs at the airport, I would have got detained again. But yes, thank God, thank God, I got through no problem. All right. Next up, Fanimator writes, loved meeting you in person in Chicago. Thank you so much. Absolutely the highlight of my year. Thank you for being a great inspiration for my friend and I's radio show. Now that you mentioned it, I remember who you are. Yeah, I remember I met these couple of guys who did like a local radio show one time a week there, which I thought was absolutely awesome. I mean, that's cool. I still think, listen, video killed the radio star. Some of you know that reference, some of you don't. And certainly internet trumped everything else. But I still think there's something really cool about having an actual radio show. And these guys did, and I thought that was awesome. Thanks for that, Fanimator. Appreciate that, man. All right. Chaps just sends in a super chat badge. Just to be supportive. Thank you, Chaps. Let's see. Derek writes, John, any form, any media, top 3 lowest lanes. My number 1 was Terry, but Erica Durance, she took the pole position. Third is Dana Delaney, animated version. Well, my number 3 would be Erica Durance from Smallville. My number 2 would be Rachel from Superman, the new one. And number 1 has to be Margot Ritter. I think she defined what Lois Lane and who Lois Lane is. And so, yeah, that's how I would personally rank them. Now, some of you may be saying, well, John, your all-time favorite Superman movie is Man of Steel, which it is. And you love Amy Adams as an actress. You say she's one of the best actresses in the world. She is. But I don't think she was the right fit. I think Amy Adams is truly one of the world's greatest actresses. Not just a great actress, one of the greatest working today. And Man of Steel is still my favorite Superman movie, but I just thought it wasn't the right role for Amy Adams. It wasn't a good fit, I don't think so. That's why I don't have her on my top 3. All right. Parshi again writes, let's see here. John, do you consider yourself a semi-celebrity now? No. Listen. I am incredibly grateful for the little community we have. I think it's amazing. I am so grateful every day that I get to do what I do, and this is what I get to do for a job and do for a living. It's insane. It's amazing. I can't believe it. But make no mistake, I am a fucking nobody. My YouTube channel isn't even that big, guys. I mean, yes, my YouTube channel compared to people getting started out and they have like 200 subscribers, sure, sure. Relatively, my YouTube channel might look big compared to that. But when you look at my YouTube channel compared to real YouTube channels, I got nothing. I got nothing. And you know what? I am perfectly happy with that. I love what I do. I love our little community. I know there are things I could do to make the channel bigger. I know I could do reactions and I could do all this. I know that. But you know what? I'm perfectly happy doing what we do. I love the community that we have. I love that I get to wake up every day and do this. And I love it. But am I a celebrity? I am absolutely not a celebrity. At most, the most generous I will give myself is I will sometimes describe myself as a C-list YouTube celebrity. That's me being the most generous. Not a C-list celebrity, a C-list YouTube, not even celebrity. I am a C-list YouTube personality. I'm a C-list YouTube personality. I'll go as far as that. But yeah, man. I'm still a nobody, and that's perfectly okay. And I'm perfectly happy. And it's great. I've been able to listen. Being a nobody, just talking about my love for movies, has given me a career for nearly 20 years. It's allowed me to do things I love. It's allowed me to meet amazing people. It's allowed me to buy a house and buy my cars and pay for my wife's education and set up my retirement and my future, and I'm all good, all because of this. And it's great. But have I personally ever elevated above the status of absolute fucking nobody? No. And that's okay. It's totally okay. I'm perfectly happy with that. But thank you for asking. All right. And by the way, don't get me wrong. Like, I see some people saying, don't be hard. I'm not being hard on myself. Listen, I think I'm good at my job. I'm not saying, oh, I suck. No, I'm not saying that. I think I'm pretty good at my job. I think I like what I do, and I think I'm pretty good at what I do. But I'm still a nobody. I mean, make no mistake about it. I'm still a nobody, and that's perfectly okay. All right. Next up, we got Brian Garcia, who writes, John, just want to say that while Tron Ares is objectively okay, there's no such thing as objectively. The only thing objective is the runtime. That's it, because that can be measured. Nothing else. It's all subjective. Anyway, just want to say while Tron Ares is okay, I find myself absolutely loving it, even more so after a second watch today. I can't remember the last time I loved an okay movie. Well, listen, then to you, it's not an okay movie. For you, it's more than an okay movie. Movies are experiential events. Movies are art. And I heard somebody really smart recently say, they're supposed to make you feel something. I love that description. Movies are meant to make you feel something. And different movies can elicit and aim to elicit different emotions and different feelings. Some movies try to make you feel fear. Some movies try to make you feel creepy. Some movies try to make you feel laughter and humor. Some movies aim to make you feel excitement. Some aim to make you feel thrills. Some aim to make you feel sadness. Some aim to make you feel romantic or hopeful or whatever. And if Tron Ares made you feel and it gave you that experience, this is what I mean by movies being subjective. Then for you, the movie was much better than okay. For me, it was very much okay. That was for me. But for you, it was much more than that. If it gave you that experience and it succeeded on that level for you, then for you, it was more than okay. It was absolutely more than okay. And that's good. That's the beautiful thing about film. That's the best thing about movies, man. All right. Next up, we've got Toasted Shoes writes, "Hey John, I might have missed it, but did you finish the Project Hail Mary audiobook?" I did. Is so, what is your thoughts? I love the book. I've talked about this several times, but I've actually gone through it twice already. Love it. Absolutely love it. I cannot wait for this movie, man. My only question is, I don't know how they're going to manage to do this movie in like 2.5 hours. I have no idea how you're going to do it, but yeah, man, I went through the book twice, and it's fantastic. You know what's funny? I actually just stayed, Ann and I stayed overnight at, when we were in Indianapolis, Ann and I stayed overnight at Cody Miller's place. Cody and his wife, Allie, are good friends of mine and Ann. We love those guys. Cody, for those you might forget, he is an Olympic gold medalist, undefeated movie trivia competitor. We've had him on AMC and Collider, and he did he did that podcast with me and Rob when we used to do Best Movie, Worst Movie, a podcast we might bring back, by the way. But we stayed overnight at his place, and he asked me that same thing. By the way, I heard you talk about Project Hail Mary. Should I read that book before the movie? I can't decide. I'm like, absolutely, man. 100%. 100%. Yeah, check it out. It's great. I absolutely loved it. All right, next up. Sienna writes, "I was starstruck when I met you in Chicago. Thank you for that. Talked to Anne for a while. She is badass. Thank you for making video for Miranda, who couldn't make it." Oh, yeah, so for a couple of people... Sorry, guys. I missed a show last week because my throat was really wrecked. My throat is not completely recovered yet. I apologize. It was really fun. Like, somebody would come up and say, "Oh, my wife watches you too, but she couldn't make it tonight." Or somebody said, "My best friend watches the show too every day, but he's working tonight." And what I would do is I say, "Give me your phone." And I'd take their phone, I would record a message for them, and that was a lot of fun. So thank you. I'm glad Miranda was able to get that message. Thanks for that, Sienna. All right, next up. Dildar the Glorious writes, "It's adorable people are still saying Avatar is going to flop, even though previous results say otherwise. 3 movies at the top, all done by one guy." Yeah, but here's the thing. We film fans have a lot of very annoying traits, and we're all guilty of them sometimes, right? I'm not pointing any fingers. We're all guilty of them all sometimes. But we have some pretty annoying traits. One of the annoying traits is that when somebody wants to say a movie flops, they'll totally move the goalposts to try to say that's a flop. Like, listen, if Avatar 3 comes out and say makes $1.3 billion, right? Which would be one of the highest grossing movies in the last 5 years. Let's say it comes out and makes $1.3 billion. The people who want to say Avatar Fire and Ash is a flop are going to say it's a flop regardless. "Well, the last Avatar made over 2, so if it only made 1.3, that's a flop." It's like, wow, you're really stupid. Like, you're a really stupid person. But that's the thing. Like, that's an annoying trait we as film fans will do. We'll move the bar, right? Like I said for years, guys, the new Superman movie, it's got all these obstacles. It is not going to be a $1 billion film, okay? It's just not going to be. And it doesn't need to be. It just needs to be really good to start off a brand new DC Cinematic Universe on a strong foot and win the audience back that had completely abandoned the DCU. It's not going to be this big, huge thing. It's going to be what? Anyway, so the movie comes out and it's profitable. I can't remember what was the total number. It was like, it made like 70, 80, 90 million dollars profit, whatever. So it's totally profitable, right? All that kind of stuff. And yet, despite the fact that the previous 4 DC-based movies coming out of the DCEU at any rate. Some of them could barely make $200 million. The fact that this one made close to $700 million is like, oh, it's a failure. It's like, oh my God. It's just, whatever. They're just going to say what they want to say no matter what. And again, I think all of us as film fans, we're all guilty of all these annoying traits that we do. And that's definitely one of them. That is definitely one of the annoying traits. Anyway. All right. But yeah, Avatar Fire and Ash is definitely not going to flop. It is not going to make $400 million. It's not going to make $450 million. It is definitely going to make a lot of money. Maybe not as much money as the other Avatar films. I don't suspect that it will. There are fewer people going to the movies today than were going to the movies a few years ago. That's just a fact. That's a statistical fact. It's not an opinion. It's not a feeling. It is a statistical, mathematical, verified fact that there are fewer people going to movies today than there were a few years ago. So I don't expect that the new Avatar will make as much as the other ones, but it's going to make a lot of money, man. It's going to make a lot of money. It will absolutely not flop. Anyway. All right. Next up, we've got, where are we? Joseph writes, John, you're a blessing. Thank you. Faith-based content usually sucks, but The Chosen and House of David shine. Seen The Chosen yet? Love to know your thoughts. No, all faith-based stuff completely sucks shit. Now, lest you think that I form that opinion because I have some sort of anti-faith thing, nothing could be further from the truth. Me and my friends sadly formed that opinion while we were in Bible college. As Bible college and seminary theological students, we just determined, holy shit, faith-based entertainment completely sucks. It's completely terrible. Love the message, but they're terrible. No, I have not seen those other things, and maybe they are good. Maybe they are. I can't say they're not good if I haven't seen them, but I just know for me, every time I watch a faith-based movie, it completely sucks. To me. The one real exception to that, some would argue it's not actually a faith-based movie, it's just that there's a character in the movie that is faith-based. But is the Andrew Garfield movie, what was it called? Hacksaw Ridge? Is that the name of it? I think it was Hacksaw Ridge. And Vince Vaughn was in it. Correct me if I'm wrong if it wasn't Hacksaw Ridge. That movie is wonderful. That movie is wonderful. I thought, yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah, I thought that was a really good movie. But I hesitate to throw it in there because a lot of people, even some people who were behind the movie, refute saying it's a faith-based movie. It just happens to be about a character who the character himself, because it's based on a true story, of a character who was a character of faith. And, you know, if you don't mind me getting give me a moment to be a little bit religious, if you don't mind. It was so good because most of the religious right today is not Christian. They call themselves Christian, they're not. What they often teach and talk about and preach bears zero resemblance to the actual teachings of Jesus. Again, this is the seminary student in me coming out, forgive me, but I'll just say this. The thing I loved about Hacksaw Ridge is that not only was it a Hollywood movie, but the character that Andrew Garfield played was actually a character living by actual Christian values. Like, I'm sorry, Jesus would never pick up a gun and shoot somebody. Sorry. If you think you do, you got to leave whatever church is teaching you that nonsense. Jesus would never pick up a gun and put a bullet in somebody's head. Jesus wouldn't do that. If you think that for a second, you've never read the New Testament. I'm sorry. And But this movie with Andrew Garfield, like, this guy was a soldier who refused to carry a weapon, refused to harm anybody, and he would run into the battlefield without any weapons and just try to retrieve wounded people, both American soldiers and the soldiers they were fighting. He would try to save their lives too. And like, so it was both, to me, and I promise I'll wrap up this religious part of the show. I know nobody wants to hear me talk religion. Just indulge me for one more second. It was both, for me, very satisfying as a movie fan, because the movie was great. But it was also very satisfying to me as a person of faith, because holy crap, a movie actually portraying what actual Christianity looks like, instead of this bastardized, heretical, nonsense, idol-based version of it that floats around in America. It was really inspiring to me. So yeah, I really like that movie. Anyway, just me. All right, next up, we go to Dildar the Glorious writes, your interactions are always appreciated. Entertainment discourse has been way too toxic lately. You've been the only one to respect others' opinions. That is not true. No. That is not true. There are others out there who respect other people's opinions. I think, look, for me, the only time I take issue is when somebody admittedly doesn't like something for a really awful reason. Like, hey, I'm trying to think of a movie that's a good example. I don't know. Okay, let's take Black Panther, for example. Okay, we'll use the movie Black Panther as an example. I think it's a fantastic movie. Got nominated for Best Picture. I don't think it's a top 3 greatest comic book movie of all time, but I think the movie's great. Obviously, the great Chadwick Boseman, all that kind of stuff. Now, if somebody went in and watched Black Panther, because remember, we were just talking about this earlier. Movies are experiential events. It's art that's meant to make you feel something, whatever that feeling is. If there are people, so they hit us all in different ways. There are going to be people that went and watched Black Panther, who a lot of us will love it, and some people won't. And there's nothing wrong with that. Somebody goes in and watches Black Panther with an open mind, they watch and say, yeah, that didn't do it for me. I thought it was boring, or I thought it was dumb, or whatever. Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's movies, man. But when you get some tit acne that comes out and say, I hated Black Panther. Okay, cool. Just curious. Why didn't you like Black Panther? It's woke. Oh, fuck. Here we go. So, like, we can all love movies we love, hate movies we hate. Like, I meet people that don't like the original Star Wars. Like, oh, that sucks. I mean, I love Star Wars, my favorite thing of all time, but it didn't work for you. That's cool, right? So I have no issues at all. I think it's great. Movies are subjective. There's going to be movies that I love that you don't like. There's going to be movies that I really don't like that you love. And that's wonderful. I have no problem with any of that. We should all respect that, because we should respect the subjectivity of film. It's just when the only time I take issue is when it's like somebody explicitly says some really backwards jackass reason for why they don't like a movie. Doesn't fit my political viewpoint. Oh, okay, then go suck eggs, man. Just go suck eggs. Anyway. Stephen D and A6, unless it's him. Yeah, listen, I really did not like. I wanted to love that movie. I really didn't like him at all. And I just thought it was a really bad movie. But listen, if you liked it though, more power to you. If you liked it, that's great. I'm jealous. I wish I liked it too. But oh man, I really didn't like that film. I wish I did though. All right. Anyway, but yeah, Dildar, I am not the only one who respects many people online respect other people's opinions. It's just that oftentimes the people that don't are the louder ones. But believe me, most people respect other people's opinions, I believe, at any rate. All right. Pardon me. Next up, we're going to go to KW Garrett, who writes, what do you think about this AI actress in the news? I think it's all nonsense. I think it's all much ado about nothing. Is it just a stunt, or do you think something to worry about? I really don't. Now, listen, that's not to take away that AI is a very major issue that is going to have to be confronted and reckoned with and figured out. And what place does it have? What place does it not have? That's definitely a big thing that the world of entertainment is going to have to deal with for a while. As a matter of fact, I think Michael Mann just said he's toying with the idea of using AI in Heat 2. We'll talk about that tomorrow on the show. But on this whole thing about this AI actress, I think it's been blown way out of proportion, and I don't even pay attention to it, to be honest with you. All right, next up. Let's see here. Jet writes, you are somebody in my life. Wish me luck at the RCMP. Oh, you're going to the RCMP. That's awesome. For those of you who don't know, the RCMP are the Mounties, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Most of them don't actually ride horses anymore, but that's pretty awesome. Congratulations on that, dude. All right. Next up. Jamal writes, hey, John, because it has been in development hell, what would you think if Universal released Fast X Part 2 / Fast 11 as a theatrical animated movie? Terrible idea. Either in the style of the DCAU movies or anime. Nope, nobody will go see it. Nobody will go see it. Obviously, that's hyperbole. Some people will go, but really, it's not going to get any attention. People go because they want to see Vin Diesel. They want to see the cars. They want to see the stunts. They want to see the action. All that kind of stuff. If you suddenly try it, I think if they suddenly try to do the final one as an animated one, it would come off A, as desperate, B, as waving the white flag of failure, and C, I don't think anybody would be interested in it. So yeah, I think they will definitely get much more people as the final chapter of this long-running film franchise. Much more people will go see it if it's live action than if it's animated. Yeah, so yeah, it'd definitely be a mistake to go animated. All right. Next up. Where are we at here? We're at Rick, who writes, John, welcome back. What's the best thing about the van? God, guys, I cannot even begin to tell you how much I love this van. Can't even begin to tell you how much I love the van. In principle, the best thing about the van is wherever I am, my house is with me. I pull into Phoenix. I got my closet with all my clothes. I got my fridge and my freezer with all my food. I got my little living room in the back there with my TV. I got my bed. I've got my house with me. When I pull into a random parking lot, a random Walmart parking lot, I've got everything with me. It's amazing. I absolutely love it. And let me see if I can pull this up. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to, but give me a moment to see if I can. This most recent trip, Anne and I don't know if there is an actual world record for this, but if there is, we may have just set it. Unfortunately, I don't have it here on me. Anyway, I wish I did, but I don't have the picture here available to me. But I took this great picture. Anne and I, we made it all the way from Indianapolis all the way home in about 38 hours. I, I mean, and the way we pulled it off is the way we pulled it off is that while I would be driving, Anne would go into the back, into the lounge, into the living room area, and she'd stretch out. We have seat belts in the back, so she'd put on a seatbelt, but she'd be able to lay down, lounge out, and either pull out her laptop and just work or sleep, or the TV comes out of the wall, the big TV, and she could watch Euphoria. She watched a lot of Euphoria on the drive back, and she could watch the Dodger game. So she watched the LA Dodgers clinch their World Series berth and all that kind of stuff. And I would drive for 2 to 3 hours. Then we'd pull into a gas station. If we wanted to make something to eat, we'd just park and, we'd go into the kitchen, make something to eat, all that kind of stuff. Or then she would switch and she would drive, and then I would go into the back and I would sleep or watch YouTube videos or play a game on my iPad or whatever, just rest. Meanwhile, we're still traveling and we're still going, and it was great. I loved it. So those have been some of the best experiences with the van so far. But yeah, man, thank you for asking. I'm absolutely loving the van so much. All right. Next up, Isaac Martinez writes, is there a movie you once hated but loved over time? The only one that falls into that category, and I'm going to see how many of you know what I'm talking about. Do any of you know what movie I'm going to say? He just asked me, was there any movie I hated that I grew to love over time? I have mentioned it before on the show. I just want to see if in the live chat any of you guys know. And I know there's like a 15-second delay. And there it is. You guys got it. A number of you got it. Inglourious Bastards. I don't know what it was. But the first time I saw Inglourious Bastards, I straight up hated the movie. I hated it. I thought it was terrible. I thought it was the first Quentin Tarantino movie that I thought was totally garbage and all this kind of stuff. So then, about a year later, it's out on video, and I've got a date. This is very, very just before I met Anne, right? I'm in LA, and I'm dating around, dating a bunch of actresses and whatever, because that's what I was going to do. Oh, I'm a Canadian. I'm in LA. I'm going to meet all these actresses. Stupid idiot. But I was dating kind of a hot actress at the time. And she's like, let's watch Inglourious Bastards. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And I watched it. And it was awesome. And I remember thinking to myself, why didn't I like this before? Like, was I in a bad mood that day? Or was it what was it? Now, that is the only time I can ever remember in the thousands of movies that I've watched. That is the only time that's ever happened to me. But that is the one. That's the one. I love that movie. I think it is my second favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. My favorite is Django. And I think Inglourious Bastards is my second. Absolutely love that movie, but I hated it the first time I saw it. And to this day, I have no idea why. I have no idea why I hated it. All right. Next up. Let's see. Mikey writes, hey, John, movie meetup in Japan, maybe? I cannot drive my van to Japan, so it's probably... Movie meetups will probably be limited to where I can drive my van. That's just the way it is. But man, I mean, it'd be cool to visit Japan. All right. Brian Davidson writes, hey, John, I know you have said in the past that you are uncomfortable meeting people. This meet and greet is one of the best things you and I never thought you'd do. Well done. Yeah, I mean, for those of you who don't know this about me, I am very socially awkward. I am. And right now, I'm in my comfort zone. My comfort zone is I'm alone in this room. or, during the show, I just got a couple of people I know. I got Rob here, or, if Ray's in the corner doing work, or Jonathan. But this is my comfort zone right here, alone in the room, just talking to everybody on the camera. And I feel like I can be myself, and I can feel like I can be normal. But I'm very socially awkward around people. I'm really more of an introvert. And I know on camera I come across as an extrovert, but that's because on camera I'm in a room where I'm most comfortable. I'm by myself. But I'm very socially awkward, and I think that social awkwardness comes from um, uh, what's the best way to put it? A lack of self-esteem, maybe. Insecurities. I think it's definitely one insecurities for sure. I definitely suffer from imposter syndrome. I was talking to a couple people came up to me at one of the recent meetups, and they said, you know, why won't you do like collaborations? And I said one of the reasons I don't do really any collaborations because I'm just too busy, and if I say yes to one person, then all the people that I say no to are going to get mad. But I said to them, you know what, too? I think deep down there's also another reason why I don't do a lot of collaborations or anything like that. And I think it's because deep down, I'm just being real with you. I think deep down, I feel like I have no place being on any other show or anybody else's thing, because that's real and I'm a fake. Again, it's imposter syndrome. I think I really do. So when I meet people, which is why for those of you who have been at movie meetups, you've probably seen me get pretty emotional. And part of that is because I when I look around after a movie's done and we're all meeting in front of a theater and I see how many of you are there, I think the thing that sticks with me is that I have no business having this many people showing up just to come meet me, because I'm a nobody and I don't deserve this. And I get a little bit emotional when I think about it. But I'm always afraid. Yeah, part of the reasons why I'm socially awkward is because of my insecurities, and I think I'm useless. I think we all struggle with that sometimes. I'm not unique in that. I think all of us struggle with that. But like everybody else, I feel that some way too, where it's like I'm useless, and if people meet me, they're going to see how stupid I am, and they're going to see how meaningless I am, and I get that imposter syndrome, and it makes it weird. And I'm always scared that I'm going to say something that will either make me look stupid, or I might say something to make somebody else feel stupid, or stuff like that. So yeah, it's still uncomfortable. I always give this illustration. I am far more comfortable being on stage in CinemaCon Hall H, or at Comic-Con Hall H, in front of 6,000 people than I am stepping down off the stage and there being a little circle of 5 people that want to meet me. I'm way more uncomfortable with that than I am being on stage in front of thousands. And I don't know why that is. But I'm sure I'm not alone in that. I'm sure many of you can relate with that. And many of you would understand that. But but it's good for me. I think these movie meetups are good for me. And it's been very rewarding, and it's been very wonderful. And I've enjoyed it a great deal, and it's been really positive for me. All right. Thanks for asking, man. All right. Next up. Let's see here. Music Rocker Rise. I think that's what it is. Says, hey, John, hope you're doing good. I am. Thank you very much. I'm from Bangalore. I'm not familiar with where Bangalore is. Your reviews on movies and TV series rocks. I also want to ask you, what do you think about Snyder's Superman post? Confusing, is DC gone already? All right. I mentioned this the other day, but you have to be more specific. What do you think about Snyder's Superman post? I have no idea what we're talking about. So if you're going to write in, if you're going to be so kind to write in a question for me to answer, you have to make sure I know what you're talking about. So instead of saying, hey, what do you think about Snyder's Superman post? I have no idea what we're talking about. So what you might want to say is, hey, what do you think about Snyder's Superman post where he said this, this, and this? That way I know what we're talking about. But unfortunately, I don't know what we're discussing. I don't know what post you're talking about, and I feel really bad because you were so kind to send in the question, but I am unable to answer it, unfortunately. So sorry about that, man. All right. Next up, Jacob Smith writes, after Secret Wars, there will be 10 years of X-Men, maybe. No more Avengers. Don't believe that for a second. We will see Omega Red, Mr. Sinister, Nimrod, and Onslaught as the tentpole villains. And listen, we're going to see, pardon me, we're definitely going to see a lot of X-Men. That's for sure. But don't think for a second that we're not going to see more Avengers movies. Pray tell, how many Avengers movies have not made $1 billion? I will tell you, the answer is none. None Avengers movies have failed to make $1 billion. And some of them over $2 billion. One of them damn near close to making $3 billion. If you think for a second that the board and even the shareholders themselves of Disney are not going to be very insistent that however Kevin Feige wants to do it, but we get more Avengers movies. I'm not saying we're going to get one every year or one every 2 years, but you're damn sure there is going to be more Avengers movies. 100%. You can't have them. And by the way, Avengers Doomsday will make over $1 billion. Secret Wars will make over $1 billion. How much more, I'm not sure, but they'll all make more than $1 billion. You can be damn sure that a franchise that every single time makes over $1 billion, makes over $1 billion, they're going to do more. I don't care how many more X-Men movie they do. It's still going to be the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's not just going to be an X-Men Cinematic Universe. And so there will be other Avengers movies. How many and how often, I don't know, but there will definitely be more. All right. Next up, we have Robert, who writes, got a chance to see Knives Out 3. Nice. Was wondering your thoughts on the franchise and your hype level for the new one. I loved it. Could be the best one yet. I absolutely love the Knives Out films. The first one blew me. Now, I'm a sucker for a good mystery movie to start with. And I thought the first Knives Out, insane. It was so good. So many, the dialogue was crisp and fast-paced and sharp and witty, and the mystery made sense, and the performances were fantastic, and it was wonderful. Then he did Glass Onion. And I think, if not completely on par with it, it came damn close to the quality of the first one. I loved Glass Onion. I thought it was great as well. And now we're getting the third film, and I am extremely excited for it. I hope we continue to get Daniel Craig as Benoit Blanc for many years. I hope we get a new Benoit Blanc mystery every 2 years. I love the ones we've gotten, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited for the new one. All right, next up, Cal Kent writes, hey, John, as much as I would love to say that I found you because of Man of Steel, in reality, it was after your trailer review for John Wick 1 back at AMC. Thank you, sir, for years of joy. You know what's funny, Cal? The Man of Steel review is not even close to being the highest viewed video we ever did at AMC. And yet, by far, by a very wide margin, most people, relatively, will say that's where they first found us, is through the Man of Steel review. Again, not even close to being the highest viewed video we ever did, and yet that's the one that somehow, some way got most people turned on to our stuff. And it's just amazing. But I'm glad that you were around even before it. So thank you for sharing that, Cal. Appreciate it, man. Next up, Keaton Toothman writes, hey, glad you made it home safe. Enjoy the Blu-ray. Oh, yes. Thank you so much. I mean, you know, by the way, listen, for future people who come to movie meetups, you do not have to bring me gifts. You being there is the gift. That being said, I have been very, very blessed that at some of these meetups, some people decide to bring gifts. And sometimes it's just things to autograph, which has been fun. Sometimes it's like a really cool movie poster. Somebody gave me an IMAX, a full IMAX studio print poster of the Superman poster, which is insane. Some people in Kansas City, somebody gave me a great set of Kansas City barbecue sauces, which was awesome. Some people give me Blu-rays and comics, and it's just been amazing. It's been really, really great. But again, for all future ones, no, you do not need to bring me a gift. Okay, this is not my birthday, or anything like that. You don't have to bring me gifts, but I deeply appreciate all of those you did before. So thank you for that, man. All right, next up. Daniel writes, John, met you at KC. Did you happen to listen to the album I gave you? No shade if not, just curious. Long live Dad Rock. Oh, 100% I did not. No, 100% I did not. I literally, Ann and I pulled into our driveway at 4:30 this morning. We slept for 3 hours, got up, went to get our dog, who I hadn't seen in almost 2 weeks. We went to go get our dog, and then we've been watching football all day. So I can 100% guarantee you I have not listened to it. I have not, all the stuff that we got given as gifts are still in the van. We haven't even unpacked it. Probably won't for a number of days. So very grateful, but no, I can 100% guarantee that I have not listened to it. I just, again, everything's still packed away. All right, next up. Where are we at? Brandon writes, hey, John, I hope you come to Montana. Missoula is a beautiful city, and we have 2 AMC theaters, including a dine-in in AMC. I don't know if we'll be coming to Montana, but we did just drive through it, and it was really, really pretty. I just don't know that we have enough viewers in Montana to justify doing a stop there, but I mean, I could be wrong about that. Maybe we do. You know, maybe we should just do every state while we're down here. Every state and every Canadian province, maybe. But we'll see. We'll see what comes in the new year. But thank you for asking, Brandon. All right, next up. Cola writes, don't retire, John, or else I won't have anyone good to follow for movie news. You can retire after MCU Phase 10. Yeah, so originally the plan, most of you guys know this, originally the plan for many years, for at least 3 years, the plan was somewhere in between the release of the new Superman movie and the end of 2025, I'm going to retire in there, right? I just want to retire I want to retire early. I want to retire young. And because one of the big things I really want to do is travel around. But then, so for 3 years, that was the plan. But then in early 2025, 2 things happened. Number one, we signed a new sponsorship deal with a new agency that just feeds us all these sponsors. And it was a very, very lucrative deal. But it didn't solve the problem of that I want to travel. I don't need the money. I want to travel. Don't get me wrong. I like the money. Of course I do. But I mean, I had I had managed my finances well. I'm positioned where I'm able to financially, I can retire if I want. So it didn't really solve the problem that I want to travel. I want to go up to Canada more. I want to visit family more. I got friends all over the country. I want to go see the sites, all that kind of stuff. So I got the new sponsorship deal, but then this van came out. This new van became available, the Nouveau van. The specific one I have is called the Nouveau Plus. And it was perfect for traveling in, but more importantly, for working in. So, because of this van, I can both travel and still do the show, which is great. So I get to do both. I get to enjoy the things I wanted to do retired and yet still do the show. So that was a real game changer. Now, I'm still going to retire early. But I think the earliest I'll retire, at earliest, is probably going to be the end of 2026. Maybe even as late as the end of 2027. So I'm still around for a couple of years. But at some point, I fully intend to retire early. But because of the sponsorship deal and because of the van, I'm able to do it longer than I originally intended. And it's awesome. And I'm having a really good time. All right. Next up. Let's see here. We got ZOMG Ruler who writes, fan of Bare Naked Ladies Brian Wilson song, lying in bed, just like Brian Wilson. I'm a big fan of all Bare Naked Ladies. That didn't sound right. I am a fan of the Canadian rock supergroup BNL, Bare Naked Ladies. As a matter of fact, I will tell you this. There is, I will not say who, and believe me, you wouldn't guess anyway. I know some of you will guess, and you're not going to be able to guess it. There was a celebrity today that I was emailing back and forth with. And I kid you not, we got into a big discussion about Bare Naked Ladies today. So it's so fun. I don't remember the last time anybody brought up Bare Naked Ladies on my show, but you just happened to bring it up on a day that me and a particular celebrity, who I will not name, were having this big in-depth conversation about Bare Naked Ladies. Which is absolutely hilarious. We were talking about, obviously we talked a little bit about if I had $1 million. We were quoting 1 week, but they were particularly talking about Good Boy, which is a brilliant, deep, wonderful song as well. But yes, I love just about all BNL. I love Bare Naked Ladies. Actually, true story, I was once a stagehand at a concert they did, and I got to hang out, me and all the festival crew got to hang out with the band, and one of them gave me a bunch of guitar picks, and while I don't know what happened to the rest of them, in my guitar case I still have one of the guitar picks that the guy from Bare Naked Ladies gave me near 30 years ago. Yeah, it's got to be close to 30 years ago that they gave me that. And I still have it. Love Bare Naked Ladies. All right. Next up. Cutter Hale writes, hey, John, would you consider coming to Temple, Texas for a movie meetup? It's a small Aaron's, Texas town, but we have great theaters, one local. You know what? I can probably tell you we'll probably not come to Temple. But when in November, when we do the next leg of the movie meetups, we are definitely going to Texas. Now, normally I've been doing one city in a state, but we will probably do multiple cities in Texas. We will definitely do 2, maybe even 3. But the 4 cities that it will be between. Again, I don't know if we're going to do 2. the least we'll do is 2, the most we'll do is 3, and it'll be out of 4 cities. It'll be either Dallas, Austin, Houston, or San Antonio. Those are the 4 cities we're going to look at. So we'll pick at least 2 of them, maybe 3. So no, we won't be going to Temple, but hopefully one of those cities, whether it's Dallas or Austin or Houston, whatever, hopefully one of those cities will be relatively close enough to you that you'll be able to come down and join us for one of those. Again, that will happen in November, and we will let you guys know which cities and dates when that's going to happen. All right. Let's see. Next up, we've got Cal Kent, who sends in like a $20 super chat. Thank you, Cal, for supporting us on that level, man. And Cal writes, back again, A Beautiful Mind is my favorite movie of all time. It's a fantastic film, man. Paul Bettany is great in it. Obviously, Russell Crowe. Anyway, I would love to know your thoughts on the movie and the performances. It won Best Picture, Director, Supporting Actress for Jennifer Connelly. Crowe was nominated. It's a brilliant movie. It's an absolutely brilliant movie. I love it. Some people will say, and I do, I love Master and Commander, but some people will say that after Gladiator, maybe Russell Crowe's best film is Master and Commander, but for me, it's A Beautiful Mind. Now, I understand there was some controversy. It took some liberties with what happened in real life, and I get that's fine. Because to me, movies are not meant to be, unless it's a documentary. Movies are not news broadcasts. They're pieces of art. They're just telling stories. I don't need a movie to stay totally accurate to the historical events. If I want something that's going to stay totally accurate to historical events, I'll watch a documentary. But yeah, for me, A Beautiful Mind, I think is the second best film. Yeah, somebody's saying The Insider. The Insider is right up there too. When you can be in a movie with Al Pacino and you upstage Al Pacino, that's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. All right. Thanks for that, Callan. Yes, I love A Beautiful Mind. It's incredible. I think there's a strong argument Russell Crowe should have won his second Academy Award for that. But anyway. All right. Joe writes, hey, John, love the show. Do you think we will get a second season of Alien Earth? Yes. Love you. Bring on the filthy. Go Mariners. Sorry about your Mariners. But go Jays. Listen, Ann is a diehard Dodger fan. Like, she had season tickets and everything. And obviously, I'm not a big baseball fan. I'm not going to pretend that I am, but I'm always going to cheer for the Toronto Blue Jays. Toronto, of course, won tonight, which means tomorrow night, the Toronto Blue Jays are 1 win away for the ultimate Campea House World Series. Los Angeles Dodgers versus the Toronto Blue Jays. That would be something, man. That would be something. Again, if they don't do it, they don't do it. I mean, Seattle is a fun team and whatever. Ann's just happy the Dodgers are going there. Anyway, what was the question again? Oh, do I think it's going to be second season of Alien Earth? 100%. That show was great. It had a few quirks that I think could have been done better. Absolutely. But overall, I thought it was a fantastic show. The rating numbers on it were very good. So yes, I 100% believe there's going to be a second season. I quite frankly, I've already heard that it's already greenlit. They just haven't announced it yet, but we'll see. All right. Next up. Brian Garcia sends in a $20 super chat. Thank you, man. And Brian writes, also, I was able to see Frankenstein at the Chinese Theater, and I think it was perfect. I'm not a big fan of Frankenstein, but Guillermo retold the story in a way that breathed new life of the lore for me. Absolutely loved it. Love hearing that. Ann and I just got our tickets to go see it on Thursday night. You know what's funny? We've got 2 really excellent looking Frankenstein movies coming. We've got the Guillermo del Toro one, but we've also got the Maggie Gyllenhaal one called The Bride with freaking Batman. Christian. Why am I freezing on Batman's name? You know who I'm talking about. Anyway, Christian Bale, of course. That they showed us a big presentation for that at CinemaCon, The Bride. It looks bonkers. It looks bonkers good. So we are very lucky. It looks like we're going to have two really good Frankenstein movies. And I'm pretty stoked for them. But yes, I'm really looking forward to seeing the Guillermo del Toro one this Thursday. We got our tickets for it, and I cannot wait to watch it. All right. Thanks for that, Brian. And thank you for super chatting in that much, man. Thank you so much for supporting us on that level. All right. Wizard Dude writes, "Hey, John, it was nice seeing everyone at the Chicago movie meetup. As a young adult, thanks for being positive male role model in my life." Aw, thank you, man. I don't know how positive I am, but I try to be. One of the cool things about the movie meetups has been like the sheer diversity of our movie fan community. And and I mean diverse in many different ways, but one of the areas that was diverse is ages. We had this like wonderful fan of ours, Patricia, who came up, and I believe Patricia's in her 70s. And she was there and telling like stories, and she's a hardcore movie fan, a big fan. And I've had guys show up who are like 15, show up and like have been watching the show for a while and all that kind of stuff. Like, so it's been really amazing. And like we've had entire families showing up. Like mom and dad and their kids all watch the show. Like, so it's been really amazing seeing the sheer diversity of even just ages of the people coming to it. So thank you so much for being there, Wizard Dude. I appreciate that, man. Right, next up, Cutter Hale writes, "I didn't get to see Black Phone 2 or Good Fortune this weekend because I saw Jonas Brothers Friday night. I'm seeing 21 Pilots tomorrow night." Well, my wife has gone to, I believe, 7 Jonas Brother concerts in the last 2 to 3 years. I wish I was joking, but I'm not. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to see Black Phone 2 either. Again, I have been traveling. And the last movie meetup we did was on Thursday night. And there were 2 movies. There was Black Phone and there was Good Fortune. We had to pick one, so we picked Good Fortune. And by the way, Good Fortune's a good movie. We enjoyed it. It was a fun little movie. But that meant we couldn't see Black Phone, and so we've been traveling ever since. So I haven't had a chance to see Black Phone 2 yet. I love the first Black Phone. You guys saw me review that. I love the first one. Can't wait to see the second one, but I haven't had a chance to see it yet. All right. Next up. Emmanuel writes, "Howdy, John. Recently reread your book. Thank you so much for that. The Pride. I'm publishing my first book in December. Any advice leading up to release and after?" No, I mean, if you've already got it written, I'm the last guy to ask for advice when it comes to releasing your book, because even though I've done it, I am no expert in it. It is not my area of expertise. So I'm the last guy to ask. But I do want to mention one of the truly great unexpected pleasures of the movie meetups has been the number of people who have come with copies of The Pride, my book, for me to autograph. That has been a real kick for me. So thank you to everybody who did that. And thank you for saying you just read through it the second time. And best of luck with releasing your book. Again, I'm not trying to dodge the question. It's just that I'm the wrong guy to take advice from on that because I have no expertise in it whatsoever. But that's awesome that you're doing it, and best of luck with the launch. All right. Next up, the Moisturizer writes, "Hey, John, any plans for coming to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania?" 100%. I will absolutely be going to the professional home of Mario Lemieux. I will definitely be coming to Pittsburgh. Again, it will probably be in early 2026, springtime 2026, but we will definitely be going to Pittsburgh. All right. Smart with Steph and Alfie sends in a $20 super chat. Thank you so much for that, Smart. Writes, "Question, John, which is better, Spectrum or Starlink internet? Very curious." Well, I mean, Spectrum has been a very frustrating internet service, but they're the only ones who service my neighborhood, so I'm stuck with them. But you know what? They've actually been pretty solid. Starlink, for those of you who don't know, we have Starlink built into the van. So everywhere we go, we have high-speed internet. It allows Ann and I both to work on the road, allows us to watch our TV, allows me to do the show, all that kind of stuff. Now, overall, Spectrum is the more reliable between Spectrum or Starlink. But considering what you get with Starlink, that you can literally just throw it on your car and go anywhere, and you've got high-speed internet, it's remarkable. But if I had to have a choice, or make a choice, in my home between having Spectrum or just having Starlink, well, then I'll take Spectrum because it's cable-based, it's stationary, it's going to be more reliable, but I am so thankful for Starlink, man. I really am. Absolutely so thankful for Starlink. By the way, I just saw someone say, John, where can I get a van like yours? Go to Nuvo. Noovo. Nuvo Vans. Go look them up. That's where I got mine. The guys there are absolutely terrific. All right. Next up, we got, and thank you again, Smart, for supporting us on that level. All right, Yusuf writes, Islam versus JDM, who you got? I think Gilbert Burns can take him down. Why not Islam? Plus, he's an underrated striker and has amazing submissions, and has frankly looked unstoppable. So I'm gonna go Islam on that. All right. Next up, Super Nintendo Chalmers writes, major deaths in Avatar 3 over under 2.5. Woo! I'm going to go under 2.5. I think 2. I think 2 is going to be the number. I think we'll get 2 major significant characters die. So I don't think it'll be 3. I think it'll be 2, and that's a lot. So I'm going to take under on 2.5. All right, next up. A performing artist writes, hello, John. Today is my birthday. Happy birthday, man. I did big movie weekend. First time watching all Tron movies. Nice. Seen Black Phone 2 and Good Fortune. Great weekend. That does sound like a good weekend. Again, I haven't seen Black Phone 2, but I want to. I know Good Fortune was a fun movie. I'm going to admit, I'm not a big fan of Tron Legacy. I mean, obviously, the Daft Punk soundtrack is amazing. The visuals are great. I just was not a big fan of it. I'll be honest with you. I think I might like Tron Ares more than Tron Legacy. And I did not love Tron Ares. So I'm not the biggest fan of the franchise overall, but still, that sounds like a fun weekend. Listen, birthday weekend, few things as nice and satisfying as watching a bunch of good movies for it. So happy birthday, man. I hope you have a great year in front of you. All right, next up. We've got our person who's been giving out all the channel memberships. X-Men Superfan Emma Frost writes, thoughts on Eartha Kitt as Catwoman and her legacy on the character? I'll be honest with you. I don't know who that is. I could lie. I could try to fake my way through it and lie, but I honestly don't know who that is. So I cannot say. So I will do a quick search. Let me look up quickly, see if I can find out who this person is. Oh, you know what? I thought you were talking about somebody who did a voice of Catwoman. You're talking about like from the original Adam West show. If I'm not mistaken. If that's who you're talking about. You know, it's hard to say how much of a legacy that somebody has when today most people have probably never seen it. I have met and talked to an awful lot of people. I mean, everybody knows of the Adam West Batman series. Everybody knows of it. But today, man, very, very, very few people have watched it. Even fewer know that multiple actresses played Catwoman on the show. And so when you're talking about any IP, it's hard to talk about, and by the way, Kit was also a well-known singer at the time. But it's hard to talk about what their legacy is when nobody knows it today. It's a very difficult discussion to have about that. Ernest Borgnine, not Ernest Borgnine, Burgess Meredith, who was Penguin. I mean, a lot of people knew he was Penguin, but still a lot of people have never seen his Penguin or talked about his Penguin. You talk about Burgess Meredith, people who do know him are more likely to talk about Rocky than they are about the Adam West Batman. So it's really hard to say, man. It's really, really hard to say what the lasting legacy would be. It's a good question, but it's a tough one to say. All right. And finally, our last question of the night comes to us from Oscar, who writes, an agreement between actor and studio is a business relationship. Yes. What happens when an actor like Rachel Ziegler, for example, that didn't appear to hold up their end? Rachel Ziegler completely held up her end of the bargain. She signed on, Disney signed her on to come and act in a movie, and she went and acted in a movie. She completely held up her end of the bargain. Period. And by the way, Rachel Ziegler did nothing wrong. I'm sorry. I know there's some people out there going to boo, but I'm sorry, she didn't do anything wrong. I mean, she may have said some things that you didn't like. She may have said some things that I didn't agree with. That's fine. I don't care. You know, it is what it is. But there's no universe that you can say Rachel Ziegler didn't live up to her end of the bargain. She participated in all the promotional tours. She acted, and by the way, she was pretty good in the movie. I didn't like the new Snow White movie. Let's just be clear. I didn't think they did a very good job making that film. But out of the good things about it, yeah, she was one of the good things about it. She was strong. She was strong in the film. That being said, it wasn't good enough to save the film. If you guys saw my review of it, you guys know my out of theater review. You guys know I didn't like the movie. But yeah, she completely did. The only time an actor doesn't live up to their end of the bargain is if they don't show up to be in the movie, or they show up and they clearly don't put in any effort or something like that. But for something like this, it's just that. Now, there's a difference between that and, say, what's her name? Gina Carano, right? The situation that happened with Gina Carano, who is not a very good actress. She never has been. But she definitely showed improvement and did her best work as an actress in Mandalorian. For sure. She was definitely pretty good in Mandalorian. But she is not one of the talented actresses of our generation. Let's just call a spade a spade. But like in a situation like that, where, Gina Carano decided to come out and say a whole bunch of things that Disney said was like completely contrary to their identity as a company, that's one thing. Disney has every right to say, we don't want to be associated with that. Like you being in our shows and in our programs, that associates the stuff you're saying with us as a company, and we don't want to be associated with that. Yeah, that's something different. And I think, but that's not a contractual thing. I don't believe. That's not a contractual thing. So I think if like an actress like Rachel Zegler, or if somebody like Ewan McGregor, or if anybody else starts doing things that like are completely contrary to the identity and the viewpoints or the whatever, or the representation of another studio, that's one thing. But for Disney, Rachel Zegler never crossed those lines. So it's just Snow White wasn't a very good movie. It just wasn't. Anyway, That's all the questions. We have some super chats, but I am going to take a few minutes here, just a few, because my voice is going, and I got to get myself to bed because I got to get up and do a show in the morning. But I'm going to take a few minutes and take a couple of live questions from you guys just in the live chat. So here's the thing: if you have a question for me, just do what I did there. Put in all capital letters question. And then that way I know you're asking me a question. Now, I am not going to read all of them. I'm just going to cherry pick a couple out. Don't get upset if I don't pick yours. I'm just going to pick a couple. And we'll see how we do. All right. Let's see here. Jace, where did it go? Writes, or JCEX writes, which time was you the most upset by when Disney screwed you over money? Disneyland or D23? Disneyland. D23, nobody intentionally screwed me over at D23. That was just pure incompetence on their part. But Disneyland, yeah, screw Disneyland, man. I just F Disneyland. I'm so done with Disneyland. I mean, I will still go once in a while, but that's only because my wife loves it. And my number one responsibility in my life is making my wife happy and bring joy to my wife. So every once in a while, she knows I don't like it, but every once in a while I will still go to Disneyland for her. But in the days of me having Disney annual passes and going out, that's over. Fuck Disneyland, man. Fuck them. Anyway. Let's see, what else do we got here? Trying to find an interesting one here. Let's see. Danetus writes, how much impact would a bad Doomsday trailer have on the movie? Significant. Listen, man, Rob and I talked on the show about the fact that I don't think, and I mean this wholeheartedly, definitely in the history of Marvel, there has never been a more important trailer than the trailer for Doomsday. There has never been a more important trailer. Because Marvel is in a shaky place. I think that's a fair way to say it, a little bit shaky. They've been hit and miss the last couple of years. They don't have the same reputation with the fan base that they once did. They haven't had a long, huge, great track record of pure success that they've had in years past. And if they come, so a lot of people are questioning, understandably so, rightfully so. There are a lot of people questioning whether or not Doomsday is going to be any good. I think everybody knows it could be great. But a lot of people are wondering, also thinking it could be bad. Who knows? We'll see. Because of that, and how much is riding on Avengers as a name and as an IP, if the first Avengers trailer comes out and sucks, it's not going to make the difference between it being a $1 billion film or a $300 million film, but it'll have an impact. And I tell you, you always hear me say, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. You put out a first trailer that's terrible, it's going to be hard to recover from that, even if the other trailers are great. Want to know a good example of this? The James Cameron produced Robert Rodriguez Battle Angel, Alita Battle Angel. Remember that? That was kind of a fun movie. I ended up liking Alita Battle Angel. But you know what killed it? A terrible first trailer. Remember that? The first trailer for Alita Battle Angel was absolutely abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. Now, but the second and third trailer they put out were actually pretty good, but it was too late. It was too late. People had already decided that the movie looked bad to them, and Alita Battle Angel didn't do all that well as a result. So, yeah, it's a lot of damage could be done to Avengers Doomsday if that first trailer is not great. Anyway, yeah. All right. Where are we at? Sorry, guys, a whole ton mess of questions have come through, and I'm trying to keep up, but they are all disappearing. Um, where now a lot of them have disappeared. Let's see here. Last one I'll take. The official Baba trolling writes, "What will happen to Warner Brothers?" Okay, here's my thought on what may or may not happen to Warner Brothers. There are a couple of options on the board, and we talked about this last week on the show. You know, the report came out that Skydance slash Paramount, the Ellison family, made an offer to buy Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers turned it down. And we said on the show there are three possible reasons why Warner Brothers turned it down. Number one, they never believed the first offer is the best one. They believe Paramount will offer more. That's one possible answer. The second possible answer is they may believe in their strategy. Warner Brothers may believe that, hey, by splitting the company into one company being all the cable networks and the other company being HBO Max and the studio, that they're going to have great success doing that. That's another possible option. The third possible option is that Warner Brothers still intends to sell, but they believe that by splitting the company first into the cable networks and into the studio side, that they will make more money selling each of those studios individually than just trying to sell the complete company to one buyer. A great example of this is, let's say, take Amazon and let's take Netflix. Amazon and Netflix have no desire in getting into cable television and all that kind of stuff. So they're not even going to be bidders. There could be other bidders for Warner Brothers other than Paramount, but I don't think Netflix is going to be one of them. I don't think Amazon's going to be another. And I think there are going to be other potential bidders that will be ruled out because they have no interest in owning a lot of the stuff that Warner Brothers owns. But if Warner Brothers splits their company first, and now you've got this Warner Brothers Studios entity that is just HBO Max and the studio. Well, guess what? Now all of a sudden, that might look more appealing to Apple. That might look more appealing to Netflix. That might look more appealing to Amazon. Not that it necessarily will, but it could be much more valuable. Now, all of a sudden, you have many more high-priced bidders for that. And then the cable networks, there are going to be buyers out there that might be interested in purchasing all the cable networks, but aren't interested in getting into the studio side. Now they'll get more. So Warner Brothers could be looking at it as if, and I'm just going to make up some numbers here. Okay? I'm just making up these numbers for the sake of the discussion. Hey, we could sell the company for $10 billion, but we believe we could sell the cable networks for 4 and the studio side for 8. Grand total, $12 billion. We believe we can get more money if we do it that way. So those are the three options. Number one, they just believe that Paramount's going to come back with a bigger offer. Number two, they think they could just have success splitting the company in two and operating them like that. Or number three, they believe they can get more money for sale from sales if they split the company first and then offer the different pieces for sale. If you're asking me what I think is going to happen, my guess is it'll be option number 3. My guess is they will want to split the company first, open the door for many more potential bidders, because the more bidders you have on the different pieces, the higher the price will go. Remember, the 5th of November, or whatever the date was, remember that Disney was going to buy 20th Century Fox for, I believe, what was it? Like $30 billion? Something like that. and they were going to buy it. Well, then all of a sudden, a new bidder came in with NBC Universal Comcast, and at the end of the day, Disney had to spend almost $30 billion more than they were originally going to buy 20th Century for. So the folks over at Warner Brothers know this, and they're like, yeah, we could take the first offer from one company, or we could try to attract in other bidders, because we saw that Disney ended up having to pay like tens of billions of more dollars than they were originally offering. So my guess is, and it's just a guess, I could be way off on this, I could be way wrong. My guess is that the third option is what will happen to Warner Brothers. That's my guess. All right, guys. And we've been going for about 2.5 hours now. My voice is clearly gone, and I got to get to bed because I've only had about 3 hours of sleep in the last 48 hours. So I'm going to go to bed, and that'll do it for tonight's little installment of my Ask Me Anything. Thank you so much, guys, for being here and making this little stream a part of your night. I'm extremely grateful that so many of you guys were here for this, especially since we didn't even announce it. We just kind of popped it on you guys. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you guys for that. Don't forget, we'll be here tomorrow, the John Campea Show, with me in studio, me, Jonathan, Rob. We're all going to be here. Hopefully you guys will be by to join us as well. We'll look forward to seeing you then. So that'll do it for me for now, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.